Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69 and welcome back to the channel. Now, again, I thought I would jump in on the bandwagon about the AMX 50B buff. Now, if you look at Blitzhanger, this is currently the AMX 50B's turret. Now, according to Blitzhanger, this tank is going to get a big buff. If you look at Happy, Droodle's videos, etc., they also state that this video is getting the buff on the turret. This is what the tank is apparently going to. Now, if this tank got this buff, it would be absolutely strong, so strong. It doesn't need a buff. A lot of people won't agree with that because they don't get on with the 50B because of the armor profile, etc. It's not great, but you know what, the 50B is a fantastic tank as it is. I don't believe it needs a buff. Played correctly, it really can perform so well. Now, it has the speed. It doesn't quite have the armor profile. It actually has a troll turret. The amount of times I've shot the grey area on a 50B and it bounces is unbelievably high, like so many times. The hull is pretty strong as well. Now, the tank is quite a quick tank, so you can go with the mediums, you could go with the heavies, sort of not front line because you just get torn apart. If this has the armor buff on the turret, if you go with the medium tanks, that they are all going to struggle to penetrate that turret. But if also you look at Fugit's video on the tank about not believing these third-party websites, you will know that this buff may not be happening at all. Now, I can actually confirm, guaranteed 100% from Wargaming themselves, that this buff is not happening. It is not going to be buffed. It's not going to get that armor on the turret. It is just a mistake from Blitzhanger. I'm assuming with the upcoming changes to the armor profiles, the skins, like the Foch, where it shows that especially the hatch on top, the viewfinder or whatever it is, it basically shows it's grey, but you could actually only penetrate the middle. Wargaming are obviously changing that, so they are going to make the hit skin proper. So on the outside it is going to be red, and of course only the bit that you can penetrate is going to be grey. I think all that coming is sort of messed up Blitzhanger's the data that they get in from Wargaming, and as Wargaming have said to me, never believe third-party websites. They don't run them. Wargaming are not involved with them. Yes, most of the things are true, but obviously by the time it enters the game, it may not be as it states on these third-party websites. However, just like Fugit states in his video, using these third-party websites is, in my opinion, a must. It is an absolute must. You can learn everything, especially Blitzhanger. It shows you how to play the tank, what this tank plays like, what the advantages are for the tank, like how to play it, the best way to play it. Is it good at long range? Is it good at short range, one-on-ones? These websites are just, you have to use them. You do have to use them. You can look at, like I said, you can look at the armor profiles to see how effective the armor is, because obviously a lot of tanks, it might say that your turret is 250 millimeters, but it might actually be 300 effective, so you're getting more armor. It all depends on the angles of your tank. You can look at all this in Blitzhanger. It really is a good site to look on, and the same as BlitzStars is exactly the same. You can compare tanks. You could put this tank compared to a T57, look at the differences. These third-party websites, in my opinion, are an absolute must, but occasionally they may get stuff wrong, and it's not so much their fault. You know, they're just getting the data from Wargaming, the data mining or whatever they're doing, so it's not so much their fault. But in this instance, it was a mess up. People think that these are getting buffs, not just buffs. The E3 people are thinking that it is going to have a massive nerf on the turret, which is not the case. It's not the case. They're not getting buffed. They're not getting nerfed. In fact, they're not getting touched, and I like it that way, because the 50B is an underrated tank. It really is. I myself prefer the T57 Heavy. If this got the turret buff that it was saying, I would probably prefer this tank, because it would be really strong. You can compete with heavies. You can sort of go front line because you do have that strong hull as well. You could go hull down. There'll be a lot of things that you can do with this tank. Of course, you have that speed as well, but it's not getting the buff. It doesn't need the buff. So yeah, so I wanted to just let you guys know, because I know Droodles did a video recently, today in fact, to say that it's getting buffed. I believe Happy did a video as well, because I mean, I bet he was happy because get it, Happy was happy because this is his favorite tank in the game. A bit of a weird, I mean, people have their favorite tanks. Mine's the Leopard one. Some people hate the Leopard one, and Happy's favorite tank is the 50B, and he actually does really well. He's like completely OP in the 50B, so I bet he was kind of happy when he saw that the 50B was getting buffed. But unfortunately, Happy, it's not getting buffed. Your 50B remains the same, just like the E3, but there is going to be a buff. There is going to be a buff, and it's a well needed buff for the Badger. The Badger is actually, I think, I can't remember exactly what the buff is, but I think it's getting a bit more speed and maybe gun accuracy or something like that. It's getting a couple of buffs, so that is much needed. The Badger is getting that buff. But unfortunately for those guys that were expecting this tank to be buffed, it's not going to happen. So that is 100% accurate. The Wargaming have confirmed this with me. I got in contact with Wargaming, and they said that it's not being buffed. They said basically don't listen to third party. They have no control over it, and it's false. So there we go. It's not getting buffed. So unfortunately, Droodles, you're going to have to make another video to say it's not getting buffed. So yeah, so we're just going to watch the rest of this replay, and you can just see how well this tank can actually do. You do have to bear in mind that it doesn't have any armor. I mean, frontally, yeah, you can get the troll bounces. You can get bounces on the hull. Our guy here has bounced 1400, nearly 1500 damage. So you can get bounces, but the side can literally be HE'd from anything. Any tier 10 in the game, or in tier 10 and tier 9, pretty much, mediums, lights, anything can penetrate it from the side with HE. And obviously the turret as it is can be penetrated with HE or HESH from things like the Death Star. So this game here, you just see how well the tank can perform. And if you watch Droodle's video, he does a massive 7.8k damage, and it just showcases how well this tank can perform and why it doesn't need that buff. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it clears the air for a few of you that are thinking it's going to get a buff, because it's not. I'm Meadsy. I'll catch you soon. Bye bye. With